Get myself all centered up here so I look good for the camera, or at least as good as I can look. There we go. Starting to have a couple people dropping in now. I don't know. I was hoping that somebody would figure this out. I didn't really announce this one. Just kind of said um, we're gonna, just kind of decided I was gonna do it. Is Jordan okay? Yeah, I talked to him a couple days ago. He didn't he didn't feel the first earthquake, but he definitely said he felt the second one. I am doing fine, Jenny. Thank you for asking. Hello from Canada. Hello from Waco. Yeah, it definitely. It's hot and humid here too. It's like 95 or 96 degrees out. And yeah, that's another reason why I kind of decided to do a live stream because I can do that in the AC. I'm really surprised how many people are from around the Texas area here. San Antonio, Houston. Do I think Jordan should leave LA? I think Jordan should do what Jordan thinks he needs to do. He has been talking about it a lot, and I think he really kind of enjoys traveling around and seeing the rest of the world. So it wouldn't really surprise me if he did that. But you know, he'll just have to stay tuned and wait and see what happens. Thanks, Emily. Appreciate the compliment. It's this vlogging stuff is getting easier and easier to do, and I'm coming up with new things to do on almost a daily basis. So that's kind of fun. I'm enjoying doing it more than I actually thought I would. How are my parents? My parents are doing well. They're back at home. Well, as you know, my father got home from the hospital. Monday or Tuesday, I think, and then I came back here on Wednesday. Now it turns out my sister and my niece are now staying with my parents, and they're kind of looking after the day to day things. You know, Basically all my mom really needed at the time was somebody to help with the laundry, somebody to go run errands, go up to the grocery store and stuff like that. Uh, so it wasn't really a full time job. She just needed somebody to deal with the things that she couldn't really do. Ever since she had her knee replacement surgery a couple of years ago, she hasn't driven, so she always depends on my father to do the driving. And when he was in the hospital, that was a problem there. So um, yeah, I know. I still got to get an iron. Hopefully, I'm planning to go unload the final pod completely and finish it up tomorrow. So hopefully during that trip, I'll find the iron. I'm also hoping that I'm going to be able to fit everything that I have left into the storage unit, which is starting to get really, really full. But I suspect if I spend a little time over there, compressing stuff in there a little bit, I'll be able to get more in there. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm going to have to bring some tools because the things that are left in the last pod are really big things, including a workbench that my father built for me a number of years ago. That's just massively heavy. So I'm going to probably bring some tools with me tomorrow so I can take that apart because it took three of us to get it into the storage unit, and it's just me here. So yeah, the cats seem to be adjusting to me coming back now. They were a little. Usually they're a little skittish the first day back, but they were both kind of out and about when I got home. So I think maybe they actually missed me a little bit. I just found a new hiding place to chill out now, and he keeps unplugging my weather radio. So every once in a while I'm having dead batteries on that thing again because it's gone to battery power over actual using power from the wall. But I don't know. I'll probably have to connect that to the wall better at some point. Thanks, Anne. I really appreciate you giving your thoughts about my father. Yeah, he's definitely doing better. He's kind of wobbling around on a on a walker right now, just because his back is still a little bit screwed up. But he decided he didn't really want to do anything uh, surgical or drug wise in terms of that, because especially with the drugs, he doesn't want to try and control the pain with drugs because it's just too easy to get hooked on that. And he found a more benign method of doing it. Apparently, he's just he's controlling the pain just with a heating pad. And apparently, that seems to be working really well for him. Thank you, Jeff. That's really generous of you. Appreciate that a lot. Hi, Jenna. What's up? I just had a little time today. I decided I wanted to actually do a live stream yesterday, but the video I put up, I'm actually a little bit ahead of the game right now in terms of videos. The video I did today won't actually show until Tuesday. So it's good to have a little bit of wiggle room there. If I have to miss something, that's good. But the video I did yesterday had just took an enormously long time to edit. I think I spent about 3 hours editing it yesterday, which is unusual because usually you know, if I don't stutter too much on my clips, I can usually, whip something together in 10 or 15 minutes. But yesterday was just really complicated. So I was planning on doing a live stream, but after spending 3 hours editing, it's like I was tired. So didn't do that. So here we are today. Thank you very much, Janet Matthews. That's very generous of you. Thank you a lot. Hi, Jean. Yeah, I always laugh at that. Starting to get a few people on here now. Yeah, I know. I've started doing that too, Jane. Yeah, say hello, Gene. Like I think I've said before, I had a boss at Disney whose name was Jack, and it always used to make me uncomfortable to say hi, Jack, because I always thought, yeah, that's probably something you don't want to say at the airport. So yeah, I tend to replace hi with hello under those circumstances, just so it isn't quite as awkward. Yeah, I know. I usually do a live stream in the afternoon on a Saturday, and so yeah, I figured people might wonder what was going on there. So I'm going to usually try and do one about once a week, usually on the weekends sometimes. So just if you're kind of hanging out someday on either a Saturday or Sunday, I'll try and do one. It's just as long as people keep coming on here and keep wanting to ask questions and talk to me for a while. You know what? I'll do that. These are fun. I seem in a good mood. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm not in a bad mood. The vlog I did today, for those of you who've been asking, I went out and uh, hit a local Italian place for lunch today. So the vlog you're going to see from me in a couple of days is going to be about. You guys have some of you have been asking for me to do like some restaurant review type vlogs, and I figured what, yesterday I'm going to do that. We're going to do that today, and we'll just see what happens. And we're good. The food I got was really good. So yeah, spoiler alert, it was a two thumbs up. Oh yeah, you like my Piccolo Pete creation from the 4th of July vlog? Yeah, that's no, I made four of those, and the one you saw on that was the smallest one, and that was 256 Piccolo Petes. I did another one with 400, another one with 600, and one with with more than 1,000. So yeah, I think that one almost exploded. You'll see that at some point. Yeah, maybe rested is the word. I took a little bit of a nap after I got back and edited my vlog, so maybe that helped. Everything's good so far at the apartment. Yeah, I ran into another little "that's not how it's done" moment. You'll see that I think probably tomorrow because that was the vlog I shot yesterday. Um, yeah, yeah, the big one was like I don't know, 20 inches across, about this big around. Yeah, it was massive. Yeah, I would have enjoyed getting some fireworks this year, but the timing of getting back to Texas from California, I came in on the third, and I was pretty much wiped out on the fourth. So I just kind of chilled on the fourth, and I didn't even have to really do anything. The entire vlog was done in one take. I think it was just me sitting on the lazy boy chair over there, and then it was just plugging in the video of the firework that I already had, and the video of Jordan's music video. So that was a really easy vlog on that day because there just wasn't a whole lot that I had to really do. Yeah, I guess if you take all the magnesium or what it is off of the sparklers, and put them on the ground, it'll burn on the ground, but it probably leaves quite a scorch mark on the ground too. So you want to be careful of that. My parents, they dealt with the earthquakes just fine. I've talked to them on both of them. They said they felt both of them. My mom specifically, but she said it wasn't really violent. They're about 120 miles away from all of that, and so generally what happens is the earthquakes move out from the epicenter. It gets a little weaker, and the motion gets a little smoother than it is if you're right on top of it. You know, obviously the geology around the area can make a big deal. You all remember the Loma Prieta quake in San Francisco? That was that one that interrupted the World Series 20, 25 years ago, whenever that was. That that one broke like 20 miles away from downtown, but there was nobody out there, and just because of so much of that part of the lower end of San Francisco was built on reclaimed land, it all just liquefaction and everything sunk into the ground. So, all depends on what's around you, and what's underneath you. Thank you, Jim. I really appreciate that. That's very nice of you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate when people do that. Yeah, I didn't really think about that, Jeff, but you're right. It's probably a good thing that we fixed that gas problem before the earthquakes. Wouldn't want to have that get worse. Although, like I said, my mom said it was more of just kind of a rolling motion by the time it got to them. So probably wasn't a huge threat, but still, it's a good idea to fix it. You know, I feel a lot better now knowing that it isn't, it isn't a problem anymore. Aren't the people in California afraid of earthquakes? Yes, yes, they are. I had a big long list of reasons why I left California, and very high on that list was earthquakes. I'm fascinated with them. I love geology. I love reading about them. I love, seeing the damage that happens on that and all that. But they aren't that much fun to be a part of. And that was one of the reasons I chose Texas too. They don't have earthquakes here. We just have like hurricanes and tornadoes and stuff like that. But even then, you get a warning on those generally. There is no warning on an earthquake; it just happens. Yeah, now we got the warning on the earthquake because now there have been two big ones, and geologists, will always tell you that when you have an earthquake, especially one that is significant, that there's like a 1 chance in 20 that it's a precursor to a bigger event. So I was reading. There's this real famous geologist named Lucy Jones who works for the USGS in Southern California. I was just reading a quote from her today saying, "Yeah, well, hold on, people. 1 in 20 chance there could be a bigger one than that 7.1." So that was one of the biggest earthquakes that's been in California in a long, long time, or at least in Southern California. And that wasn't even on the San Andreas Fault, which is really, really weird. There's another fault. San Andreas Fault kind of goes up California north south, and then there's another fault that kind of comes in called the Garlock Fault, and they cross, and that's actually what's pushing. The Garlock Fault is actually pushing the San Andreas Fault, which is why if you look at the San Andreas Fault, it goes straight up, and then there's a weird angle, and then it goes straight up again. And it's that it's that little angle there that creates the danger, because that's where all the pressure builds up. And so that's why they always say that California is such a is such a big threat for earthquakes, is specifically because of uh, the convergence of San Andreas and Garlock. So, and those aren't the only ones. There's a lot of faults, especially around where I used to live. So, like I said, I'm glad to be out of there. Yeah, that's true. They do have some earthquakes, but they aren't seismic in nature, and generally they're very very small. It's usually caused by them pumping oil out of the ground or something like that, and you get a little bit of a cave in or something like that underground, and it results in a one or a two earthquake. But those are nothing. You're aware of them a little bit. I've been through a bunch of ones and twos. I used to, my house in California used to be about 3 miles from the Elsinore Fault. And occasionally I'd feel something there. In fact, I remember Jordan was over one night and I was just kind of walking him out. He was about getting ready to go home, and I was kind of leaning against something in the garage, and I felt the earthquake. I said, "Oh, we just had a little earthquake," and went up, and yeah, it was just a little two magnitude on the Elsinore Fault. You can usually tell, because if it's a weak earthquake but kind of sharp movement, you can tell it's usually pretty close. They get smoother as you get further away from them. Yeah, it was amazing. I left the day before the first pre-shock occurred. The 6.4, that first one that showed up. I left the day before that. That showed up on the 4th, and I was out of there on the 3rd. So, yeah, that just worked out really well. Yeah, got to dodge tornadoes, got to be prepared for hurricanes. But you know what? I found one area in the house that would be a good place to take shelter. It's underneath the stairs, and it's up against a brick wall. So in a pinch, you know what? That's where we're going, under the stairs. Northridge was a bad quake because of all the people that died in it, but the this one that happened just a couple of days ago, that was actually much stronger. That was, they say every time you go up an order of magnitude from like a 5 to a 6 or from a 6 to a 7, it increases the amount of energy being released by the earthquake by an order of 10. So a 6 is 10 times more powerful than a 5, and a 7 is 10 times more powerful than a 6. So it's a big change from a 5 to a 6 or from a 6 to a 7. So when you go from, I think Northridge was, I don't know, a 6, a low 6, and this one in a couple of days ago, that was in Ridgequest, that was 7.1. That was a massive quake. I think that's the biggest one that's been in California in my lifetime, at least in, like I said, in the part of California I live. And I remember Sylmar, I remember Northridge, I remember Whittier Narrows. Those were all significant quakes in California. Northridge was a 6.7. I guess you're right. I guess it was a 6.7. But 7.1, that's still several times more powerful than that. Did Jordan get an earthquake? Yes. He didn't feel the little first one, the relatively smaller first one that happened on the 4th. He said he was out on the dog park, and I guess he was walking around and didn't even know it had happened until other people at the park started saying, "Hey, did you feel the earthquake? Did you feel the earthquake?" I said, "No, I didn't." But I guess he was back in his apartment when the 7.1 hit, and he said he felt that way. He said a lot of stuff shook around in his apartment. Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably do some points of interest in Waco, but not doing so much of that. Like I said, that's sort of what Jordan does. I do still want to go to the zoo that's here, and we'll probably do that at some point. It's going to get weird after I get a job because that's going to make it a little bit harder to do some of the vlogging. At least the out and about kind of stuff. It may be that a lot of my workday vlogs are going to be just me talking to the camera and saying, "Yeah, here's what happened today." So I don't know. We'll see, but we'll try and go out and do some fun stuff on my weekends. Yeah, yeah, that was. I've seen Fixer Up a bunch. That's a lot of what I learned to do in terms of home repairs. I learned from watching these Fixer Upper shows, and so I love that kind of stuff, and was a huge fan of Chip and Joanna, and used to watch like Homes on Homes and um, other shows around the time. That were a similar kind of thing. You just learn a lot from doing that. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be a storm chaser though. I've seen enough of those shows too, and those guys kind of tend to, get themselves in the middle of things sometimes more than probably I would do. Bob Vila, that was This Old House, right? Used to watch that too. Not as much as some of the more recent stuff. I got to admit, I got more into like home repair and stuff when I had a home. When I was living in my parents' house, some of those older shows, I didn't really pay that much attention to it. It wasn't the fascination to it that there is now. Yeah, I did get a chance to see Beth a little bit when I was back in California. Unfortunately, she said that she kind of looked into the issue. She's had some car problems recently, and just didn't think that this time she was going to be able to come out. So, unfortunately, you're not going to get to meet her at this point. But I'm sure she'll come visit some point, and maybe we'll go hit the zoo with her. I do know that she watches these vlogs, which is kind of cool. I also know that my parents watch them. I don't know if they're tuned in now because I don't know if they're doing that right now, but uh, we'll see. Yeah, the kitties are still hiding. Bite found a new hiding place behind my DVD rack, and he's discovered that he can pull the plug out of my weather radio all the time. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to do something with that. I think because what ends up happening is you pull the plug on it, it goes to batteries, and then the batteries burn out. So yeah, you hope when you get the weather radio that you put the batteries in it, and you don't have to worry about it for a year or two. But yeah, batteries last about a week because bike tends to pull the plug out. So I don't know. We'll come up with something on that. Yeah, you're right, Suzanne. If you ever smell gas, especially after an earthquake, go turn it off. It's better to have the gas company have to come out and turn it back on and relight the pilot and all that than to have there be a leak and there be a real problem because gas isn't something you want to mess with. What's the weather like today? It's about 95 degrees out there, 50, 60% humidity. So yeah, it's just miserable out there. Are the cats climbing on the shelf? They are a little bit. They're still kind of hanging out primarily in the closet. Probably partially my fault because I leave the closet open and all that, so they can go in there. But whatever. I do know that when I got home on the third and kind of came in the door, the first thing I heard was two sets of cat feet coming off of the shelf. So they were clearly up there. Uh, so they're using them. They're just not to the point where they're up there all the time now. Yeah, we're not going to push anyone trying to figure out how to do something illegal. Well, it's funny. Yeah, Gene, you're talking about 102 in Vegas. I'm looking at the 10-day weather forecast for here in Waco, and it's like 98, 99, 99, 99, 98, 99, 99, 99, 98, 98. So yeah, it's going to be miserable here for the next few days. I'm going to unload the final pod, hopefully finish that off tomorrow, and it's supposed to be 99 degrees out there, so I'm not looking forward to that. Too hot. But I went out and bought one of those goofy hats that I can wear, so I'll wear that tomorrow. That actually did a lot of good, keeping me from getting too sunburned on the on that fair that Jordan and I went to last weekend. Yeah, yeah, it gets really hot in Vegas. That doesn't surprise me. You're starting to get into the hot season now. 107 in Phoenix. No thanks. Bad enough here as it is. They keep flirting with 100 degrees here, but we haven't actually hit that yet. But I'm sure we will. Goofy ad fun. Thank you, Jeff. That actually exactly covers what the hat was, because I think the hat was $9.99. So thank you, Jeff. That hat is dedicated to you. You'll see that tomorrow, and well, you'll see that in the video that I'm going to shoot tomorrow. Probably won't be up until about Wednesday. I'm a little ahead of the game right now. Vlogs. When I was back in California and did the school vlogs, my elementary, junior, and high school vlogs, I did those all in one day, and so I got 3 vlogs out of that, and I've just been kind of uh, you know trying to stay a little ahead of the game. I know Jordan does that. He's often a week or more in working in advance. So if something comes up, you can take a day off. So far I haven't taken a day off in terms of the vlogging since I really started doing them on a daily basis. It was, I think there were 4 or 5 right at the beginning that were 2 or 3 days or a week or 4 weeks or something apart. But after I started doing them on a daily basis, it's been every day since then. So yeah, the hat is smart. It just looks goofy, and yeah, you know, I watched Jordan get a little bit burned on that day, and I think he was kind of regretting that he hadn't gone out and bought a goofy hat too. But whatever, you know, both of us are very, very white guys, so we just burn very, very quickly. You get with us, you can get burned just walking to the car. So you gotta take extreme precautions. Do I have AC? Yes, it's on right now. It's been on every day since I got here. It's very, very hot. Yeah, it's gonna be sad not having Jordan around that much and not being able to see Jaw that much. But the beauty is he's got the vlog, so I get to. It's like getting to see him every day, and we still talk from time to time. We text back and forth. So yeah, it's what I had to do at this point in my life, and we'll deal with it. And I'm sure Jordan and Jaw will visit at some point, so you'll get to see them again on my vlog. And of course, you can always see them on their vlogs. So I can say their vlogs now because they each have one. It's so hot, even my glass is sweating. Yeah, you're right, Kathy. Better a goofy hat than sunstroke or melanoma, as you know, as was mentioned elsewhere. You know, that's a threat too, and it's especially an issue when you start getting a little thin on the top, like I am. You know, where you start getting like sunburn on the head. That's no fun. It does feel good to be officially escaped. To have officially escaped the mouse. Um, you know, it's just like I said. I haven't gotten any hours from them now, probably since like mid-January. You know, and they're saying there wasn't going to be any more um, hours until we get into Christmas season again, which is they'll start practicing for that in late October. So it's going to be another 3 or 4 months before anyone there gets any hours. No thanks. Yeah, yeah, you're right, John. The heat really gets to me really quickly too. So but I can be out in a little bit of it. I don't know. You haven't seen the video yet, but I had another. I picked up a nail in one of my tires yesterday. I had to go fix that. And I was outside just for like 10 minutes, just removing the flat tire and putting the spare on. And I was dripping with sweat when I got done with that. So yeah, it's it's hot out there. It's not a whole lot of fun, but you know what? You got to do it, and I suppose you'll probably get used to it. Did I ever do the electrical parade? Yeah, it's funny. I had heard just like the day before that the electrical parade was coming back to California, and when I was there to resign, before I went in and talked to anyone, I actually went over to the Disneyland parade warehouse because I wanted to see if I could find a friend of mine there named Gary because he's a very very good friend of mine. I've known him for the entire time that I've been there, and he's one of the few people who I wanted to say goodbye to who wasn't on Facebook or on social media or anything like that, and didn't get a chance to meet him. But as I was walking through the warehouse, they had all the floats in there. So yeah, it's definitely coming back. I guess what they do is they have a warehouse like in Glendale or something like that, where they store all that stuff off site because the park just is not big enough right now to deal with what they have going on actively, let alone store a big parade like electrical parade. So yeah, it is definitely in there. They're definitely getting ready to go at it again. But it looks like they're going to do like they often do, which is they'll run it for a couple months and that's the end of it. I was kind of disappointed too that since they've already got Paint the Night going on over at Disneyland and they got Fantasmic going on at Disneyland, I was a little disappointed that they didn't move Electrical Parade over to California Adventure because then that would have at least been some hours for those people. Right now you got one park where the parades people are getting all sorts of hours, and now they just added another parade, and the other side where there's no hours. So yeah, whatever. And I think Electrical Parade was a better parade for California Adventure anyway. Uh, it's a longer parade route, so there's more room to kind of spread out and get there and see it. It's also easier because in the backstage areas too, because when you park the parade at the end of the parade, it's got to go somewhere, and there just isn't a whole lot of area there in their parade staging area at the front of the park. The beauty of California Adventure is it was designed with parades in mind. So what you could do is you could literally, go from the beginning of the parade to the end of the parade, get back to a little backstage area, and then you could drive back to the parade warehouse on the back road without having to go back through the park. You couldn't do that at Disneyland because it's not possible. There aren't any back roads that are big enough to deal with the floats and stuff like that. They got monorail beams out there that are in the way, and so the only way you deal with that is you either do two parades a day, one from the back of the park to the front, and one from the front of the park back to the back, or the other option is you do one a day, you park it at the front of the park, and then you wait until the park is closed and drive the floats back through the park. And they call those bringovers or bringbacks. And I participated in a bunch of those, especially with with the sensational parade. What was my main reason for making Texas my next home? I said earlier, one of the things on the list was, there's no earthquakes in Texas, and that's a big part of it. But I also, California is just kind of hostile to the business world, and I wanted to find something that was just way different than California. And Texas seemed to be a polar opposite to that. And I also like getting a little bit of weather, having seasons. In California, you have hot season and you have warm season, but you don't really get any interesting weather like rain or stuff like that. Yes, it rains occasionally, but it's a desert, so you're living in a desert. This is Texas. It's hot, but in the summer it gets cool and actually cold. You sometimes get some snow. You get a lot of rain. It's just I love that kind of stuff. It's probably the problem with probably the reason I love weather so much is because I experienced so little of it in California. The only real exciting the only real exciting weather you get in California is when the Santa Anas blow up, and that's not a lot of fun. All that does is it triggers the wildfires. Yeah, yeah. My father was apologizing, Dana or Jana, for that because he says it's his router, and I experienced that a number of times when I was like working when I wasn't live streaming. He says that the router just kind of you know drops out every once in a while, and he was going to have to go and get a new one. That's one of the things I've been really really happy about here is the internet is just rock solid. It's the best internet I've ever had, and I think it's probably because what they just recently rewired all of the buildings for internet, so they got a really good wire in the walls. And as a matter of fact, when I actually got hooked up for internet, I just went over to the cable place and they gave me the box. I said, "Yeah, I can install it, no problem. I've done that before." And I got home and I couldn't install it, and it turned out that the internet router box for the building hadn't even been completely wired up yet. So I was probably like the only one in the building who had internet there for a while. And sorry, sometimes when I'm talking to you, I'm not looking at what the screen is. So I gotta catch up here. What's going on here? Do I know what to give my dad for Christmas? No, but I haven't really thought that far ahead. And just on the outside chance that he watches this, I probably wouldn't say it here anyway. He did like our T-shirt though, John. You got a chance to see that. I've never had alligator meat. Is it good, Jenny? You said you like it. I always like unusual things, so it's something I'd probably try if I had an opportunity. Is it like everything else where they say um, it tastes like chicken? NASCAR rain delay in Florida. Yeah, well, wait 15 minutes. The rain will probably be over. Yeah, I'm sure it's that way, Jenny. You got to do that with everything. It's how you make it, how you prepare it. But I do want to try at some point, and there seems to be like a lot of you know Tex-Mex and Cajun food and stuff like that. So yeah, I'd be maybe we'll have to try that at some point. I'll have to see if I can if I can find some place that has alligator. It's definitely something I'd try just to say I have, because there are a lot of things that I would have said, what, I can't imagine I would ever eat that, so I'm not even going to try it. And you know what, I did try it, and they were good, and some things I like and some things I didn't like. Discovered I love calamari. That's really good. I discovered I like sushi. I discovered I'm not a fan of oysters. But I wouldn't know that unless I actually tried it. And I did try it, and now I know. Yeah, I've never tried frog's legs either. I guess a lot of people really like them, so it's definitely something that I would try. Just like I said, just to say I have. Yeah, I know. When you're right, Jeff. When I had oysters the one time, like I said, I actually like oysters Rockefeller. But just just swallowing the oysters on the half shell, I don't know. It just it almost made me gag. And I was it's like you're swallowing a big loogie or something like that. It's like no thanks. It's kind of gross. I guess I don't like the texture. I like clam chowder and stuff like that in soup, but not really into oysters on the half shell. Lightning delay now, huh? Yeah, I suppose that's a threat when you're driving around in metal cars. Ah, Marion, Pittsburgh. Yeah, you'd never make it in our family. We almost drive people out of the family if they don't like fish. Being from Minnesota, you don't really you have to like fish. Fortunately, that was never a problem with me. Yeah, who knows? Maybe I will go to Florida some point and try it. While I was in California, do I have any feelings of moving back? In a word, no. No, in fact, the last month or two when I was there, it's like every day there was something new there that made me, say, yeah, I'm making the right move, getting out of here. And that continued when I was back there. Yes, it's good to be around my friends and family, all that, but yeah, it's just that place is just it isn't moving in the right direction, and there doesn't seem to be any sign that they're trying to change course or anything. It just seems like they're going faster and faster and faster to oblivion. So you know what? It's their problem now. Yeah, all my family is from Minnesota. My parents were both raised in Minnesota. My grandparents lived their lives and died in Minnesota. I still have an uncle. I have cousins in Minnesota. So yeah, it's just that's where all of it is. I've been there a whole bunch of times. It's a really nice place. I just am not a huge fan of very 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 cold, and I made the mistake of going to northern Minnesota one year in January, and it got to like 30 below zero, and that was just it hurt to walk outside. It hurt to breathe. It was so cold. So at one point I was actually considering when I was deciding where I was going to go, perhaps going to like Wisconsin or Michigan or something like that. There was maybe a potential job opportunity there, but um, one of the things that you know kind of made that less than ideal was how cold it gets in the winter, and the fact that I didn't think Flash would be that receptive to that. I'd have to remember every year to go get her and bring her into the house because she'd freeze solid outside, and then if you get her inside the house, then all of a sudden it's warm again. So all of a sudden she's up and around, and cruising around the house, and you never know where to find her. So yeah, John. Like I said, a little bit of snow is fine. We get a little bit of snow here in Texas, and I think a lot of times it seems more like it's more hail than actual snow. But it will be fun to experience a little of that. I've lived in California all my life, so that'll be a nice change of pace. I have driven in snow though, so I'm not like an idiot behind the wheel like Californians are when it rains. Does my family like my vlogging? Yeah, my mom says she watches it like every day. My friend Beth says she's waiting at 6 o'clock California time every day for it to go on. And so yeah, they do it. And I know when my father was in the hospital and I did my live stream last Monday, he watched that live and he told me he watched the whole thing. So that was kind of cool. That was kind of I think a good diversion for him because one, he was, able to hear me talk a little bit about, some of the things I've been working on around the house and all that. And he also got to hear some of the news and gossip and all that. So yeah, he said he watched the whole 2 hours of it. So that was cool. Yeah, exactly right, Denise. My mom, especially at the beginning, had a real tough time dealing with her only son moving out of California. She has a daughter too, and the daughter of my sister moved to Folsom up around Sacramento to be with her husband and kids. Uh, Funny how that works, right? But my mom, really had an issue with it at the beginning, and I think it's less of an issue now because she feels connected because she watches the vlogs, and so she kind of knows what's going on in my world. And if it wasn't for that, I'd probably be getting telephone calls like every couple of days from her. So hey, it's good that I'm giving her what she needs from the vlogs, and she can, kind of get what she needs and stay happy. And she's adjusting to it better too. So that's a good thing. Much better. Yeah, Denise, you're right. It's a mom thing, and my mom's always been that way. So, it shouldn't surprise me that it happened, and I guess it probably really doesn't. My father's always been more independent of it, and he kind of let me know, what he thought about it, and thought that it was some it was a good opportunity to move and good chance to try something new and just kind of figure out what's me. Thank you, Fairy Grasshopper. I appreciate that a lot. That's very generous of you. Do I have any siblings? Yes, I have a sister. She lives in Folsom, kind of up around Sacramento, with her husband and kids. Drinking anything good today? I went to I did a restaurant review vlog today, which will get posted I think on Tuesday. It's already uploaded and edited and all that. And they had a good local microbrew beer that I tried that was very good. It was called 1849 Bear Arms. I guess it's just something local here. It was on the menu. And they had four different things on tap, and three of them were just, you know, uh, commercial brews, commercial beers and stuff like that. And then they had this stuff, and I said, well, you know what? I always like to try a new beer, so I did that, and it was good. It was a good beer. I think they said it was 5.2% alcohol, which is a little bit more than normal, but I only had one, so yeah, I know that's what it is, John. You know the best beers I try are the ones I've never heard of. And oftentimes, if I'm gonna go get some beer, I'll just go to the liquor store or wherever and find something I've never heard of. It's like, oh yeah, this seems interesting. I really like IPAs, so I tend to gravitate towards those. But uh, like I said, if it's something I've never heard of, I'll try it just to see what it is. No, I didn't go to Olive Garden. I'm trying to avoid kind of the chains. I'm trying to find like one-offs, and this is just some guy who is a third generation Italian immigrant who decided that he'd spend his childhood in Italy with his grandparents, showing him around, and discovered that he loved the food and loved the culture and all that. So he decided to come to Waco with his wife and start up a restaurant. We went there, and it was actually very, very good. But I'm not going to do too much info on that. You'll have to wait and see the vlog. I think it'll be out on Tuesday. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe John. Maybe I will check that out in Austin. I'll at least look it up. You've mentioned that a couple times, and a beer festival would be fine. Would be fun, wouldn't it be? Wouldn't it be funny to watch me staggering around with a camera and getting drunk in front of everyone? That would actually be kind of a funny vlog. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. That's very generous of you. Like I said, yeah, you're right, John. It probably would be a great vlog, and like I said, it'd be funny to watch me going around getting drunk. They used to, well, I suppose they still do at California Adventure at Disneyland. They have a food and wine festival, and back in the past when my mom and dad could both consume alcohol, they can't do that anymore now because of their health. But we always go to the food and wine festival, and fortunately, I wasn't videotaping myself then because I'm not much of a wine drinker to begin with. I prefer beer. I'm a beer person, but I was drinking it just to be part of the group there, and yeah, I got pretty drunk. Glad I didn't have to drive. Wow, 102 years old. That's quite a life. I'm glad it can be a part of your life. Yeah, no conspiracy theories here. Trying to keep it neutral. Yeah, you're right. Chip and Joanna do have a store. I've driven by it once. You remember that day where I had barbecue? Oh, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Not the place that I did uh, after I cleaned the pod that day and didn't feel like going home and cooking, but one that I did like 3 or 4 weeks ago. That was literally just right down the street from that place. From Chip and Joanna's place. I didn't even realize it was theirs until I looked it up later on. And it's like, oh, I was like right there. Yeah, you're right. It's the magnolia. It's called the magnolia. Am I going to vlog it someday? I don't know. Maybe. Like I said, a lot of this is a different kind of vlog than what Jordan does. So I'm not trying to go into his direction the same way he does. That's his thing. So but we'll do a few kind of travel things. Thanks, Jeff. I'm glad you're able to stop in. Say say happy birthday to your wife for me, for all of us. Yeah. In terms of the pods, I'm going out tomorrow in a 99-degree temperature. Yikes! But that's the only option. But I'm going to go out, hopefully unload the final pod tomorrow, and so hopefully after tomorrow that will all be done. Now I'm a couple days ahead on the video, so you probably won't see that vlog until like Wednesday or something of the week. Wow, served in World War II, Panzer Division. Very impressive. Thank you so much for your service. Wish I could do him a super chat. Yeah, you're right, Gloria. I think that's probably what I'm going to do. Last time I unloaded one, I tried to get out there as early as possible, so it wasn't as hot as it could be. And as it turned out, that day I was glad I did it because it took a lot longer to unload all that stuff. Uh, I actually got a little sunburn that day too, which is why I got the goofy hat. All right, thanks Denise for stopping by. I'm happy you were able to be here. Oh yeah, Deanne, you have no idea how happy I am that I got out of California before the earthquakes happened. I'm not a fan of earthquakes at all. I've been through enough of them in my life. I don't need any more of those. I'm ready for some tornadoes and hurricanes now. At least you get a warning on that. All right, thanks for stopping by, Terry. I appreciate that. And howdy to you. Do I like swimming? Yes, I do. I do enjoy swimming a little bit. Right now, I got like an ear thing that kind of makes that difficult. I get all plugged up if I go swimming these days from all that. But I do enjoy doing it. And there's a swimming pool here on the property that's actually pretty nice. Probably go visit that sometimes just to cool off in the afternoons. But yeah, you're right, Lorraine. That's made it an awful lot easier for my mom to kind of adapt to me moving 1,400 miles away from her. Is the fact that she can kind of see me every day and gets an opportunity to see what's going on in my life and all that. So yeah, it's been a good thing that we did that. And so far this whole vlogging thing has been very positive. Even the trolls haven't really been a big problem. Had to delete a couple comments today, but I haven't blocked anyone yet. Yes, you're right. This is a no troll zone. So far, it's been good. Like I said, just a couple of stupid comments that I had to delete. Haven't had to block anyone yet. Nobody's doing anything really outrageously offensive at this point. So, all right, Jenny, I'm glad you were able to stop in. Hug the pups for me. My voice isn't used to this. Do I have any tattoos? Actually, I saw Jordan's tattoo today. Well, I didn't see it today. I saw it when I was out there on Sunday, and it's nice. It's a beautiful tattoo. The guy did great work. Do I have any tattoos? No, but it's not because I'm totally against it. I'm not sure what I would ever, it would be a matter of me picking out something that I would know that I would, be proud of for the rest of my life. And I can't think of anything right now that, falls into that category that I'm not going to look at in 20 years and say, oh man, I wish I hadn't done that. And I think I mentioned this on another vlog or on another live stream when somebody asked about tattoos. It reminds me of a scene on The Simpsons where Homer is talking to, I think, Lisa about tattoos and say, "Oh yeah, get tattoos. It's a way to remember the things that are important to you." And he rolls up his sleeve and he's got a Dexy's Midnight Runner tattoo, and he said, "Dexy's Midnight Runner, they suck." So yeah, I mean that's always a concern. It's finding something that it's going to be important to me, for the rest of my life. And I don't know, maybe my standards are just too high. Yeah, I don't know if Jordan would do a jaw tattoo. I know a lot of people would if they had a dog like Jaw, but I don't know if Jordan's necessarily the commemorate family or pets on in a tattoo. It's a lot of his tattoos are bands he's into, or the baseball team he loves, or like I said, the one he did a couple days ago, which is beautiful, by the way. If you haven't seen it, it's nice. Yes, it would be easier to have the pod delivered to me, but since everything's going into a storage locker and the storage locker place doesn't have a place to stage the pod, um, and additionally, it would cost money to have them bring it to me. I just decided, since I had to get a truck anyway, it's just easier just to get the truck, unload it at the pod's facility, and then move it down here. They don't charge you to gain access to it. They charge you the monthly rent, and they charge you every time they move it. But if they're just pulling it off the shelf and getting it down to the ground, so you can do that, uh, then you know what? That's free. So yeah, you're right, Tina, and I wouldn't rule out the possibility of doing it. Like I said, it's just it'd have to be something that's important to me, and I just haven't found that thing yet. Even I look at things that were important to me 10 or 15 years ago, and it's like, yeah, that just isn't the priority now. And tattoos are forever. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe in escaping the mouse tattoo, maybe that image that John whipped up for me would be a funny image for a tattoo. I've always thought that it'd be very cool if somebody could design some tattoo ink that your body would metabolize after 10 years. And so, you get tattooed with it and it just kind of fades away in 10 years or something like that. I haven't really done any steak or potato places, but I do love that. So, I've been trying to find a things that are more like uniquely Texas. So I've been doing like Tex-Mex and barbecue and stuff like that. But I guess a good Texas steak would definitely fall into the category of Texas food too. So I don't know. Maybe we'll do that. Like I said, I did the restaurant review for the vlog that's going to get posted, I think, on Tuesday. And I was thinking last night, maybe I'll just do one of those, like maybe one a week or something like that. I'll just hit a different restaurant. I don't know. What do you think? Would you like doing that? Would you like to see that? Let me know. Am I dating anyone? No, I haven't really even met anyone here. Met one of the neighbors, and I know the landlord, and that's about it. Yeah, I've heard that they do tattoo removal, but I often hear sometimes that there's like scar tissue associated with it, so it isn't complete. It isn't like you get rid of it completely. Yeah, I've had some excellent Texas chicken fried steak since I've been here. Haven't really gone to any, I think I went to just a family sit down restaurant chain. I can't remember what it was now. And they had some pretty good chicken fried steak. I love a good chicken fried steak. Yeah, you're right about tattoos and how it becomes a like a barcode for the police. Because yeah, that's what they'll do is if you have tattoos, they'll photograph that and that becomes part of your mugshot. Yeah, and that's another issue, Shirley, is what's it going to look like when I'm 70 or 80? You know, when everything starts drooping and hello, Yvonne. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, I wish I knew how to make tortillas because I'd eat a lot more Mexican food here if I did. But yeah, that's I love Mexican food, so definitely if I'm going to do some like local eateries, I'll definitely hit a lot of that. I love Mexican food. I did Italian food today, and that was good. I don't know if that's necessarily uh, you know Texas theme, but it was close by and it sounded good, and I kind of like the story of the place. So. We'll see where we go. That's an issue too, Maria. That probably was part of the reason I didn't get any tattoos when I'm working at Disney. Disney is an absolutely no tattoo zone, you know. And I mean, there's people, some people that they'll like hide it with a band-aid or something like that. But Disney even frowns on that. They don't want any visible tattoos on you. So nothing on the arms, nothing on the legs. If you do have it on the legs, you got to wear long pants the whole time. If you have a sleeve, you have to wear something over it all the time. And you know what? I kind of like at Disneyland that I could, you know, uh, kind of change my uniform. I had, long pants and short pants and stuff like that. And it was basically my choice what I wore every day. And it was all based on the weather. So, I wouldn't want to rule out something because, oh, yeah, I can't wear short pants because I have a tattoo on my leg and, we can't do that. And so now I got to wear long pants and suffer in the heat all day. And a lot of companies do kind of make their hiring decisions based on if you're all tattooed up, they don't want you. It's I think a lot of it is just they don't want it kind of intimidates the customers sometimes, and they don't want an employee that's scaring their customers away. It's funny. I'm looking at my clock right now on my laptop, and I just realized I haven't changed the clock back since when I came to California. Or I came from California, so it's still showing 2:30 at California time. Hey, Bite, you gonna come over here and visit? I just see that Bite walk out from the shelf and he's just kind of staring at me right now. Come on, buddy, you want to come over here? Come on, come here. Come say hi to everyone. Wish I'd get Nibble to do that. Yeah, he's coming over now. Come on, buddy. Come on up. Come on. I can hear you meowing. Come on up. You're just playing Mr. Shy, aren't you? That's how it is, isn't it? Yeah, we'll see if he comes up. He's hanging out here, but right now he's just kind of walking around at my feet. Ah, here we go. Now we're coming here. Come on over here. Come on over here, buddy. Come over and say hi. No, I'm just gonna grab you then. We'll just do it that way. Yeah, there's the Bitester. Say hi to your fans, Bite. They want me to put you on my arm on a tattoo. What do you think about that? Would you put me on your arm as a tattoo? No, no. All right. Enough of that. Back upstairs. I gotta put my eyes back on so I can see again. Leanne, hi, hello, Tennessee. Yeah, I don't know. Bite was meowing at the on the ground. I don't know if you heard him or not, but he's my buddy. And now he's heading back upstairs. That's the end of him. I have never had a problem with fleas or ticks on either of my cats. I think it's because they're indoor cats and don't really have any exposure to anyone else. So I don't think either of them have ever had a flea or a tick on them. So no, I don't do anything with that. Vaccines, and that's about it. That's the only time they ever even get out of the house. Well, that was something I was mentioning a little while ago. Maybe get John came up with that real great artwork that I'm using at the start of my video now. Maybe that just really psycho demented image of Mickey would be a funny tattoo. But like I said, I also don't necessarily want to dwell on that anymore. Disney is in the past. Are the cats using the shelves more? Yes, a little bit more. I know that when I came home from California on Wednesday, and as I was going down upstairs, I heard two cats coming off the shelf, so they were both up on the shelves. So yeah, they are using them. They're still kind of hanging out in the closet a little bit, but I think Bite is getting a little bit more comfortable with the shelves and dealing with that. Yeah, I've heard there's a big tick problem in Texas too, but like I said, my cats are indoors, so it's never been an issue. Get a temporary tattoo. Yeah, I suppose I could do that. Yeah, yeah, both the cats. I mean, it's hard to believe that they're brother and sister, but if you really look, if you ignore the coloring, how Bite is black and white and Nibble is orange and white. If you just kind of look at the random nature of the markings on them, it's not hard to see that they're brother and sister. The mustache at Disneyland was a different thing. I don't know. Maybe they changed that at one point, but the entire time I was there, I didn't have the goatee. I just had the mustache, and that was never a problem. And I always just wrote it off. It's like, well, you can't complain about Disney look and then have the founder of the company, Walt Disney, wear a mustache. So the entire time I was there, I always had the mustache. But a few years ago, they changed the Disney look, and you can have a beard now as long as it's kind of kept neat and trimmed. So yeah, that was about the point I did this. It was, one of the reasons I left Disney was because they kept shutting down the parade for like you know weeks or months or even a year at a time. And when your hours suddenly go to zero, it's not a lot you can do there. So the and with Disney also they wouldn't let you have the intermediate step. You had to either have the full beard or no beard. And so in my case, it takes me a little while to grow out down here. And if I take a week or two off for vacation, that just wasn't enough to get it thick enough where it would be considered Disney look. And so I'd go back and have to shave it all off again. But one point about 4 years ago, they shut down the parade for like 5 weeks straight, and that was long enough time for me to get it going. And I got it going, and I've had it ever since. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just a midlife crisis or something going on, but whatever. I like it, and I've gotten good compliments on it, so whatever. It makes me look less like a porn star or a pedophile or pedophile porn star. Yeah, that's funny, John, because once I got back to California, I started digging into the Photoshop files you sent me of that, And I did notice that the layer with the mouse you called the rat. So yeah, yeah, we're gonna have to change it. It's going to be called escaping the rat. Dedicate that to John. That was awesome. Made me laugh though. It also impressed me, uh, how much work and how many different layers you had in there to do that. Because when I was like, first thing I started doing is, like, okay, let's turn off this layer and see what that is. Oh, yeah, that's like the glow on the end of the teeth. Oh, that's the fading out of the around the eyes and stuff like that. It was fascinating to see how you did all that. Yeah, that was one of the things I looked at Nancy too. When I decided I was going to do my live stream today, I wanted to make sure Jordan wasn't on, and so I didn't want to compete with him. But it didn't look like he was doing one today, so it looked like it would be safe. Did I say bye to Disney? Well, sort of. I talked about it on my Golden West College vlog. Um, where I tried to go in to talk to HR. I didn't want to go talk to my managers because they were the ones that drove me out. And frankly, I think it was an intentional effort. If they like you, they don't want you to. If they like you, they'll take care of you, and there's nothing you can do wrong. If they don't like you, there's nothing you can do to change that. And I didn't really want to give them the satisfaction of letting them know that they had succeeded in driving me out. At least not get them to at least not let them look me in the eye when they did that. So what I initially wanted to do was just go to HR. I figured, okay, well, I'll just go to HR and try and resign through them. Then I don't have to deal with the managers, the people that basically drove me out of that place. But HR wouldn't touch me, and they said, you know what? No, we can't do that. You got to go to your supervisor to do that. And I said, yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm leaving under very bad terms, and you know, if you're not going to do it, then what I'll do is I'll just go home and they'll discover when I don't show up to work. But at the end of the day, what I ended up doing was I actually went over to the parade's office to one of my manager's cubicles, and he wasn't in there at the time. None of the managers were there at the time, so I just wrote a note that said simply, "I resign effective immediately," and I included my name, my company employee ID, and my badge, and I walked out, and that was the end of that. So um, it's funny too. It's been, I don't know, I think it was Monday or Tuesday I did that, and I haven't even heard from Disney. I figured, somebody, if they cared, which I guess I kind of knew the answer to that, but they don't really care, and that's the whole problem. But I figured if they cared, they'd want to at least try and find out what happened. And they didn't, and I know they know now because a couple of days ago I tried logging in on the company network using my login, and my login's been canceled. So I'm definitely out of there. So whatever, they don't care. That's Disney for you. I guess I shouldn't be surprised about that. Yeah, you're right, Shirley, and I appreciate the kind words, but like I said, I kind of want this to be my own thing. And it's gonna be, and it's mostly, it's just about my journeys of leaving California and relocating to Texas, and it's just it really is the traditional definition of what a vlog is, which is just a video log, which is a video journal, and that's what it's turned out to be. I'm just kind of covering the things that are going on in my life on a day-to-day basis. And, from time to time, some of those things that are happening in my life are going to be, me going and visiting something, but it's not going to be a real central focus of, uh, of this vlog. We'll do it occasionally, just when it's fun. Yeah, Marion, Pittsburgh, you're right. I like to think that too. There's so much I could have done for them, and they just aren't interested. They just, I always look at it. The problem with Disney is that there's so many very, very talented people there that the way I look at it is the analogy I created is it's like a billionaire who loses $100. If you're a billionaire, $100 isn't really worth that much. So if you lose $100, you're not going to really pay that much attention to it. When you're surrounded with very, very talented people, you don't care if you lose one or two. They don't really matter. And a talented person isn't that valuable to someone like Disney as they would to some smaller company that maybe isn't surrounded by lots and lots and lots of really talented people. I don't know. It may be a stupid analogy, but it works for me. Well, yeah, I'd like to think that I'm worth more than $100 too. That was just an analogy. I could say 1,000 or $10,000 or even $1 million, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, I've heard people that really love Disney. I've heard people that just can't stand the place, and I think the problem is I never went into it with this. Oh, I'm going to this magical place, and it's going to be the greatest thing ever. I just looked at it as another job, and I never really saw the magic at Disney because I don't know. In my head, I was always just looking at it and saying, trying to figure out how things happen. How do they do that? How is it that when you go into the haunted mansions that those statues keep facing you? No matter where you go, you move around and they keep facing you. It's like you look at it close, it's easy to figure out how they do it. Or how do you get the ghosts in the main ballroom? It's like, well, that's just mirrors. That's how they do it. Or where do the float drivers drive? I knew even when I was a kid and watching the electrical parade in the '70s that there was somebody driving those things. And so I always looked at the float and tried to figure out where the driver was. And I was usually right. So, you know, I guess that's who I was at the time. Someone who just I'm not into believing in the magic. I want to understand how they do it, and I guess that sticks with me to this day. Hello, Miss Dina. Glad that you got to check in and say hi. Yeah, Nancy, I hope you're right too. I'm looking for, even at this point, it's just got to be something that, will pay well and maybe have, some growth opportunity and all that. You know, um, like I said, I was at the end of the day, I was at Disney for almost 11 years. Technically, if you consider the day I quit, I made it past 11 years because I started June 1 of 2008. So, when I left in July 2nd or whatever, that's more than 11 years. So, and I had nothing to show for it. And that was one of the reasons, um, that I just gave up on the place. Because, the only other job I've ever had that long was at DMI. And I told you about that story on one of my older videos. And in that time, I was there for 10 and a half years. And I went from an entry level part time janitor to the person who was in charge of authoring all CD-ROMs. Uh, and that was just because there was opportunity. It was kind of a startup company, and so they were definitely interested in, tapping into anyone who would bring valuable value to the company. So, um, it was just fun to be able to grow with that company because, like I said, part-time janitor, part-time chemical processing person. Then I moved into mastering and kind of retired from the janitor and the chemical processing. Then I moved into pre-mastering and authoring of CD-ROMs, and then I moved from there to being in charge of the department. And it just it was it was just all sorts of opportunities to grow. That's probably why I had such a problem with Disney and was so frustrated with them is that I couldn't go. I didn't seem to make it anywhere. Every time I try and make progress, there'd be somebody trying to hold me down. So, uh, yeah, you see my Stonehenge shirt. Yeah, it's just what it looks like. It's just my parents went to Stonehenge a number of years ago, And there's a case where, like I say, my parents went to Stonehenge and all they got was this T-shirt. Yeah, I've heard the same thing, Shirley, about Stonehenge that you can't get near it anymore because you just can't trust people around there. You can only walk around the outside anymore, which is kind of sad. But you know what? That's what happens in this world. People ruin things. How many chili recipes did I get? I think I did get a couple. Now, a lot of people were like sending me like just links to online recipe collections, and those are good too. But I actually what I was really looking for was like some like family recipes. This is something that my family's been making for a while, and you know we really like it, and that because those are the best recipes. I mean, you never know where some recipe came from out of a off a website somewhere. I'll look up some of them, but like I said, I haven't been doing a lot of cooking lately. How was the soup? It looked really good. It is. It's I mean, I love cream of mushroom soup, and everything I throw into it is stuff that I really like. So I've made that multiple times over the years, and it's a good meal. Actually, I made it before I went home to California, and I have three of those buckets in the freezer frozen, and the fourth one was just left in the refrigerator. But I was having a little problem balancing the cold on the refrigerator, and stuff in the bottom and at the back was actually freezing solid. So I came home on the third, figuring, I'm going to have soup for dinner tonight, and I got home and I couldn't because the soup was frozen solid. So yeah, we adjusted the refrigerator though. It's doing better. Have I ever been to Niagara Falls? No, I have not. That's an amazing place though. I'd love to see that. Yeah, you're right, Frank. There's always some bonehead that'll ruin things. Here we call them trolls, but you know, out at Stonehenge they call them vandals. Oh yeah, I'm sure there's lots of chili cook-offs around Texas. That's definitely something I'll check out at some point. Yeah, that's actually what I did, Nancy, is I did put it outside, but well, not outside, but outside the refrigerator. Uh, it still took a little while. It took about 8 hours to thaw because it was yeah, there was a lot of it and it was frozen solid. Yeah, I figured you meant soup, not sop. Love spell checkers. I especially love the spell checker on my cell phone. I'll get some gibberish word on there, and you can look at it and you see what it was I was actually trying to do. But it'll say, "Oh yeah, this word that you typed in with all vowels or with all consonants. Yeah, that's probably is that what you really meant?" It's like, and then it misses what the obvious word was. So I don't know. Sometimes these spell checkers are kind of silly. So, okay, yeah, yeah. I mean, in terms of with the soup, you can really do whatever you want, Kathy, and a lot of people suggested putting like chicken broth in there instead of water, and that sounds like a really good idea too. So, and yeah, there are no right or wrong answers on that. It isn't like a cake where if you remove one ingredient, it doesn't work. This everything in there is optional. If you don't like the mushroom soup, put something else in there. Uh, even like some chicken noodle soup or something like that, or whatever. You just got to find what you like. And like I said, I settled on that, but golden mushroom soup sounds really good. Might check that out at some point. Try my own little variants. Yeah, spell check is a challenge. Yes, I did. I got out of California the day before the earthquake hit. I was very grateful for that. I do not like earthquakes. I've been through three big ones in my lifetime. Silmar in the 70s, Whittier Narrows, I think, was in like the mid 80s, and then Northridge in 94. And I didn't like any of those. Actually, I'm told I slept right through Silmar. I was a kid when Silmar happened. So how do I think my vlog will evolve? I don't know. I'm just kind of playing it by ear. Today I did some people have been suggesting I ought to go, try out some of the local restaurants in town. So the vlog that I shot today, which will be posted, I think, on Tuesday, was me doing that. And I was thinking last night, maybe doing like one restaurant vlog a week might be kind of fun. So I don't know. I might do more of those. How are my parents doing? They're doing much better. My father got home from the hospital the day before I left, and my sister and her daughter, my niece, are they're kind of taking care of things now, holding down the fort. But my father did very well. One of our neighbors, Beth's father, John, went to pick him up at the hospital, which was very nice, and he brought him home and we had dinner that night. And he's still a little sore from his back, and he's walking with a walker right now because of that. But he's decided he doesn't want to treat it with drugs, and instead he's just dealing with his back pains with like a heating pad. And apparently that's doing very well for him. So and once they got the big problem, the thing that put him in the hospital in the first place was he had some problems with his liver, and he'd they had discovered he had some prostate cancer, about 4 or 5 months ago. And they treated that with radiation. And they think that maybe the radiation kind of, threw his liver for a loop a little bit. So once they started treating the liver, he recovered very quickly and got better quickly. And so they actually let him out of the hospital faster than I think they were planning on doing it. At some point, I think he's probably going to go back and maybe have some surgery to correct the back problem. But for now, he seems to be hobbling around on his own. I think the best thing to come out of all this, I think, is that he's discovered that there's just some things he's got to stop doing now. They've got a gardener now that's going to do the yard. And, so my father, has given up on that, knows he can't do that anymore. And we had the issue where there was a problem with the sprinkler valves out in the front yard, and normally he would have fixed that, but at this point we had his had his gardener take care of that. And they did a good job. So I think he's just finally coming to terms with the fact that he's not 18 anymore. We all have to kind of reach that point. All right, Tina. Yeah, that sounds good. Red beans and rice with smoked sausage. That sounds really good. Where do you live? Maybe I'll come over and eat with you. Yeah, my luck, you're probably on the other side of the world. Nebraska, that's not too far away. That's only like a 8 hour drive. Yeah, just keep it on the warmer. I'll be there about 11. Or actually, no, I'm still looking at my clock here in California, and it's on California time. So what is it? Must be about 5 here now. So yeah, 8 hours. I'll be there at 1 in the morning. And when you hear someone banging on the door, that's me. Wow, I've been going for more than an hour and a half now. Yeah, homemade enchiladas, that sounds really good too. I don't know. Maybe I'll go find a Mexican place for dinner tonight. I don't know. Like I said, I had Italian food for, well, technically it was around lunchtime, but it was my first meal of the day. So it was kind of my breakfast. And I did a restaurant review vlog today, which will be posted on Tuesday, I think. Um, so maybe not 2 restaurants in a day, but I'll maybe put a hamburger on the grill or something like that. That sounds good. Pretty simple, easy to do. Yeah, I hear you with that, Shirley. I'm the same way. I still feel like a kid, but I look at that, look at all this gray hair. It's like, give me a break. In fact, when I finally grew the goatee in here and the gray really came in on that, that was for the really the first time I actually started looking my age. Prior to that, it wasn't uncommon, even when I was in my 40s, for me to get carded for alcohol. Yeah, they don't do that anymore. Oh, that's all right, Gene. I'm glad you were able to stop back in though for a little while. FaceTime with a baby, you don't want to miss that. That only happens once, At least in this case, when I'm done with this, I'm going to leave this posted, so you can go watch it later on if you want. FaceTime, that's kind of transient. I don't think you can. I don't think you can record on that, can you? I don't know. I've never done that. Yeah, I do that. I do that a lot, Dina. I'll just, I'm not one of these. Oh, it's time. It's breakfast time, so I have to eat breakfast. I have to eat something that's breakfast related. No, I'm whatever, and I'm into whatever I'm into. And I can eat anything, any time of the day and night. What kind of work do they do at Disney? I used to work in the parades department over at California Adventure. If you ever watched any of the parades over there in the last 10 years, it's a reasonable chance that I was driving one of those floats. Just mainly I worked on the Pixar Play Parade, but I've done Electrical Parade, I've done Paint the Night, I've done Phantasmic, I did Christmas Parade a few times over on Disneyland side. Um, I did that for a long time. It was fun, but it's just there was no future in it. I didn't even complain about the money. The money was I always thought the money was maybe even a little generous compared to for the work we were doing. My frustration is just that there wasn't any way to move forward. I tried multiple times to advance not only within my own department but to actually transfer to other departments and get some opportunities to move forward, and it just never ever happened. And I honestly think that what was going on is that management in the parades department decided for some reason they didn't like me and didn't want me to grow anywhere, but they didn't also want me to go anywhere. And so I think a lot of times what would happen is if I applied for for a job in another department, I'm pretty sure the manager of that department called the manager of my department, who was all too happy to, you know, tell them that I was a horrible person. They didn't want anything to do with me. So, at that point, it just got to the point where I had to get out. And I've been threatening to quit that place for about 2 years. In fact, some of my friends over there, they just kind of rolled their eyes every time I'd say, "Oh, I got to get out of this place." It's like, yeah, I know, but you never do it. So, finally I did it. No, it isn't asking too much. Like I said, Disney paid pretty well. When I started working there, I was making 9.80 an hour. In the 10 or so years I worked there, I worked my way up to about 12 and a half dollars an hour. And at the new year, Disney updated its minimum wage to $15 an hour, and I actually got to 16.40 at the end. But the problem was, I was kind of getting bored with where we were at the time, and I wanted to do something different. I've always kind of been that way. I do something for a while, and it's really interesting, and then I do it for a long time, and I get bored with it, and I want to do something different. And that was kind of where I was at Disney, and I couldn't make the move. So, um, yeah, it was just time to go. Wow, yeah, right on, yeah, because I grew up around Lamson and Valley View in that area. So yeah, the Golden West and Edwards, that isn't that far away at all. Any word on a Patreon yet? Yes, I do have a Patreon account, and if you go to my front YouTube channel page, up there on that image of my backyard at my old house, on the far right, I put a Patreon link. I'm not really pushing it, but it's there. If you want to go, that's where you look. Um, like I said, I'll probably get a little bit more serious about Patreon, when I move out and get a house and stuff like that. Then, who knows? Maybe people will be, more interested maybe in investing in a project or something like that. Yeah, like I said, I was never really upset with the money that I got. I always thought it was, fair or even somewhat generous for the amount of work we did. It's just, it just, it was, I got bored with it and there was no future, and I had 11 years in that place. I had nothing to show for it. So, I was just getting over it. Thank you, Gene. I really appreciate that. And I'm glad that you like the videos. I'm having a lot more fun doing them these days, which is, makes it a lot easier to do. I kind of understand how Jordan is. It was a little bit of a challenge for him when he first started, but then it's like you start getting more ideas and you start thinking, oh, hey, that would be a good vlog. Hey, that would be a good vlog. And it just kind of goes that way. So I'm glad you like them, and I'm going to keep doing them for the time being. Um, and it's also great all the positive feedback I get from all of you. I read all the comments, and it's fun to have that happen. So this is partially because of you too. It's a big part. It's because of Jordan, because all of the success I've gotten, very little of it would have happened if it wasn't for you guys knowing Jordan and for Jordan helping to promote me and pushing me with his vlog and giving me really great advice, and then you guys coming back and giving me all the wonderful comments, and just it makes it really easy to do this. So you know I thank all of you for doing that, for watching my vlogs, and I hope you continue to enjoy them. Oh, we're starting to get some people from the UK now. It's late there, isn't it? Because I don't know. I think it's like 6 or 8 hours after me, and it's a little after 5 right now. So yeah, hope I'm not keeping you up too late. It's 8 hours later, Yvonne. Okay, so that makes it what, about 1 a.m. for you? Wow. Yeah, I did a bit of a tour of Waco. I don't know, a week or a week and a half ago, and that was fun. I found some things that are pretty cool out there. I did find out where the Cameron Zoo is, so we'll probably do that, hit the zoo at some point. But what I did on that day is I just took off in a direction that I've never been before, just to see what was there. And yeah, we'll do some more of that. I don't know if it'll be a driving vlog, but it'll be like one where I go someplace and say, "Oh, this is kind of interesting. Let's get out of the car and talk about that." I know they're a little. It's a little boring, I think, just driving around in a car and seeing all that. But we'll do, like I said, getting out and you can spend a little bit more time. 6 hours ahead. Okay, well that's still pretty late. It's still like 11 then, huh? Wow, thank you, PDX sir. Appreciate that. That's really generous of you. I'm glad I can help. I'm glad I can help you. Calm down a little bit. A lot of people, say that's one of the things they like about me is kind of my deadpan approach to things. And I learned a long time ago that it doesn't really help to get frustrated or get angry. I ran into a little bit of that when I was back at home. My mom was really getting frustrated and angry over the issue with the gas leak on the water heater because we keep finding new problems and she kept wondering, well, why didn't these people do this right the first time? It's like, well, there's limits to what they do, and sometimes the best way to deal with a problem is just to remain calm, remain and keep yourself calm, and your brain works better that way. You can think your way out of problems a lot better if you're calm than if you're angry and really frustrated or whatever. So, and at the point, even my mom's um, even my mom has her when she was getting frustrating, it was kind of robbing me of my ability to think clearly on it. So, at one point, I actually just literally had to get in the car and drive away because I knew I could probably fix this problem. I knew that that heat sensor that we had in there, wasn't a very common thing. So I knew that if in all likelihood, if I called a plumber, that they weren't going to have that part in the back of the truck. So I knew it started with me having to find out what that part was, and so the next morning after sleeping on it, I thought it was like, okay, first thing I do is let's find out what that part is, and so I got a part number on it, and I Googled it and figured out what it was, and at that point I was able to get like a technical drawing on the thing that showed me exactly what was there, and and at that point it's like, okay, not only is this a relatively simple thing, I can probably do this myself. And so I just said, okay, where is the part? Because even if I'm going to call a plumber, they're going to need the part. So I figured we had to start with getting the part, and I found it online, and it turned out there were a couple places just within a couple of miles of my parents' house that sold the thing. And so I just said, okay, well, let's go get one. And once I had the thing in my hand, it's like, okay, yeah, I can do this. This is easy. And so, like I said, it just took me, it just took, me getting a little time to think about it. And once we did, it was fine. Which way to donate takes the least? I was actually surprised because I really saw how much YouTube takes out of the live stream, the super chat. They take like 30%. It's insane how much they take for that. So, I would say super chat probably isn't the way to go, if you're doing it. I'm guessing probably PayPal. And if you do it like friends and family, I don't think there's a whole lot that's taken out of there. Yeah, Shirley, I'm kind of the same way too. I was a little bit more, a little bit more emotional when I was younger. And like I said, I just realized that, anger or frustration, that just kind of shuts your brain off. And you don't do your best thinking when you're angry. I've learned that I can think my way out of way more problems if I, if I just kind of keep a lid on my emotions. Yeah, it was really surprising because I think at the end of the day, I calculated the super chat from last Monday that I did, and I think I got like $180. But at the end of the day, it was only like $120 that actually ended up in being registered, and that was including the advertising revenue I'd gotten from that day. So yeah, YouTube takes a lot. Yeah, I sort of understand that with dementia, with Alzheimer's, and that people get frustrated with that. When they can't do the things they do, or they can't remember, and sometimes they lash out in anger. I have seen that happen too. My grandfather, uh, we lost him to Alzheimer's. It didn't really. He never was really an angry person, but at the end, it wasn't safe for him to be home alone. So they put him in a home, and when we go visit him, there were a lot of people there who were in the same condition he was that really got really angry and sometimes even violent. There was one point I remember when I was trying to, exit the ward where they kind of kept all of the Alzheimer's patients, and an elderly gentleman tried to follow me out. There was this remote code you had to punch to open the door, and the guy tried to follow me out. Well, I knew that wasn't going to be allowed, so I kept trying to keep him inside. He got so mad, he took a swing at me. Now, fortunately, he was like 90 years old and had no force in it, so it didn't really hurt or anything. But that was that frustration that they feel. So yeah, I totally understand that. Yeah, you're right. It takes less energy to stay calm than it does to get mad. And like I said before, it also it robs you of your ability to think clearly. Okay, yeah, I know where Garden Grove Boulevard and Edwards is. That's actually out real nearby where I went to get that part for the water heater. Actually, they were just off of Edwards and a little, I think, south of Garden Grove Boulevard. It was a Ferguson supply place. But yeah, they had the thing right in stock, which is very cool. Like I said, I wouldn't have run into that if well, if it was likely that they were gonna have that in the back of the truck. But I knew that was going to be such an odd thing that I figured I'd just go do it. Yeah, it's good that you can take care of your mom. Unfortunately, the only one that was there to deal with my grandfather was my grandmother, and her health was she wasn't able to deal with things. She never really drove a lot to begin with. My grandfather always did all the driving. So, it was a little too much. And my grandfather was a little bit too independent. He liked to go out for walks and stuff like that. And, my mother or my grandmother would, all of a sudden, like, oh, where is he? He's gone. I don't know. He went for a walk. I don't even know where he went. And that was scary, because he was losing his memory at the end. So he'd get out somewhere and he wouldn't know how to get home. So it just got to the point where we had to put him into a home, and that was how that ended. Fortunately, he never got to the point where he was so bad that he didn't remember us. So that was always good. He was forgetful and stuff like that, but at the end, he had a stroke, and that was the end. So he went quickly and peacefully, and we were grateful for that. What am I making for dinner? I don't know. I think I'm probably just going to throw a hamburger on the grill. I had Italian food for breakfast today. I actually had lunch for breakfast, but I do that sometimes. I did a restaurant review vlog today of a local Italian place. It looked really good. So um, you'll have to wait until Tuesday to see that. But the food was fantastic. So like I said, I'm not going to go out for 2 meals in a day. I'll probably just throw a burger on the grill, piece of cake. Yeah, it's really nice when your kids can do that to bring you in. Yeah, I love grilling out. I have a gas grill that I used in California, but it's natural gas, and there's no natural gas here, so it's just sitting out in the backyard. But I got one of those just little portable barbecue grills, charcoal grills, um, that I've actually had for years and years and years. I actually had it before I had the gas grill, but I didn't use it much after I got the gas grill. So um, I've just kind of been storing it in the garage for all this time, but it's getting some use now. So yeah, we'll probably go do that. little after 5 right now. So, we're coming up on 2 hours, and we'll probably stop at that point because I usually try and do a 2 hour live stream just to give everyone a chance to kind of stop by. Yeah, hamburgers are awesome on the grill, and I've got like some just like a rub that you put on the meat that's just very very tasty. It just makes a very flavorful meat. So I love that. Yeah, charcoal has a terrific taste to it that you don't get with gas. So yeah, I agree with you on that, Tina. Should vlog my cooking a hamburger. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. All right. Well, I'm glad you were able to stop in, Yvonne. Like I said, I'm going to probably end this pretty quick too. I usually like to kind of hold the line at about 2 hours, give everyone a chance to do it, but not give them so much that people are starting to get bored with me. So, yeah, yeah, I really like the HEB around here too. There's actually two of them. One of them that's kind of close to where I live that I go all the time, and it has a really impressive produce section. So I like that. And there's also another one that's an HEB. They call it a superstore, which means it has like a lot of. It's kind of like a mashing up of a normal HEB grocery store and like a Walmart because it has like clothing and that kind of stuff too. So I've been there too a bunch of times, but I'm very, very, I like HEB. HEB's been a great store. There were actually like three different stores I used to visit in California. My regular grocery store, which was just a Ralph's, which was, just the day-to-day things. And then I'd go to Costco for like, meat, and I'd buy meat in quantity and throw that in the freezer. And then there was like a local farmer's market called Sprouts that had the produce, and so depending on where I wanted to, what I was in the mood for, I'd go to one of those different places, and my parents kind of got wind of all that, so for Christmas every year they'd give me like $100 gift card for Sprouts, and a $500 gift card for Costco and stuff like that. And with Costco, $500 you can go buy enough meat in there to feed you for a whole year. You throw it in the freezer and you're good to go. Yeah, I do know that there is a Sprouts in Texas, but there isn't one really close to me in Waco, so that's kind of sad. I actually ended up going to Sprouts quite a few times when I was back in California with my parents for that. And I've never really been a fan of Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's, I don't know, they don't have the inventory, and a lot of stuff is just really overpriced. So I'm not the Trader Joe's fan that other people are. Yeah, yeah, watermelon. That sounds really good too. Yeah, like I said, I'd go buy $500 worth of meat at Costco, and I'd individually wrap everything up and throw it into the freezer, and I'm good for a year. Uh, It's not HBE, it's HEB. It's a grocery chain here in Texas. I guess it stands for HEB stands for Here Everything's Better. I'd never heard of it either, but when I first started talking about it, my mom was into it because my mom watches basketball and she likes one of the Texas teams, and so I guess HEB is always advertised courtside on in the basketball games she watches. So I guess she's aware of them. But yeah, I've been very impressed for with HEB. It's a great store. Okay, okay. I'm learning something now. I guess it stands for Howard E. Butts. I don't know. That almost sounds like something a troll would say, but maybe that's the founder's name. I don't know. It'd be funny how often you get on here and a troll tries to get you to say something that's like that's offensive. I got nailed on that. a couple of weeks ago. I didn't even realize it until Jordan, watched it afterwards and said, yeah, that person that asked you to do the shout out, yeah, that was a troll. So I went and deleted him afterwards, but whatever. What's for dinner? I think I'm going to throw some burgers on the grill. That's oftentimes my go-to, and I got some thawed in the fridge, so we should be good. What instrument did I play? When I was in high school in the band, I played. Well, when I started in junior high, I played clarinet. When I got into high school, I kind of moved onto the saxophone. Uh, played the baritone sax, and so yeah, that's like I said, it was something that my parents kind of pushed. They were really musically inclined, and so they wanted to kind of encourage my sister and I to do it too. And in neither of our cases did it really ever take. So I stopped doing playing performing music in high or in college, and just kind of got over it. I was more of a behind the scenes person. I'd rather be the person, recording the music or mixing the music or doing the live sound reinforcement or stuff like that than actually being a performer. So that's just me. Piggly Wiggly, yeah, I've heard of them too. I think probably just because in the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, they kept using Piggly Wiggly trucks to transport all the stuff in to meet the aliens. All right, Rose. I'm glad you're able to stop in, and God bless you too. Actually, I think I'm going to probably pull the plug on this right now. We've been going for about 2 hours, and we'll see. We'll stop in and do this. Like I said, I like doing these live streams, and I'll probably do one like on the weekends from now on. So just kind of keep an eye out. Sometimes I'll announce them, sometimes I won't. What's for dinner? Hamburgers on the grill. Gonna do that probably right about now. I'm starting to get hungry now. It's been a few hours since I had breakfast, lunch, whatever that was. Yeah, that's something I wouldn't think of, a pickles tattoo. Yeah, okay, whatever. That'll be the final word for today. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time. My next vlog should be up in a few hours, and I hope you enjoy it. So good night, everyone. I'll see you next time.